Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Kids Inc. podcast. I'm your host, Susan Yeager, and welcome to episode 5. Can you believe it? We've made it to 5 episodes thanks to you guys and your great support. And if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see I'm on video, which can only mean one thing. It means we've got a special guest, and I can't wait for you guys to hear this. Oh my gosh, Kids Inc. fans, I have a special surprise for you today. Our guest has worked with Hollywood legends like Bob Newhart, George Burns, but we will forever know and love him as the man behind the counter. Riley, Moosie Drier is here with us. Hey.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing well, Susan. And how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for talking with us today.
Of course, my pleasure. Gosh, I have so many thoughts going through my head at once. The first thing right now, when you introduced me,
yes,
as if I wasn't already the old guy from Kids Inc., the only adult. I don't know if any Kids Inc. fans know who George Burns and who else Bob Newhart.
Bob Newhart. Yeah. Well, Bob has been on the Big Bang Theory. So.
Oh, well, that's right.
Yeah,
well, there you go.
And if they don't know them, they should look them up, right?
Yes.
Right?
Oh, legends. And Bob Newhart is still walking amongst us and still around.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want you to start at the very beginning. You had quite the career before Kids Incorporated. Like, how did you get into it and what were some of your highlights?
Well, that's right. I did work a lot as a child actor myself, which kind of, I will probably go into this, about how I felt like off camera, I fit in with the show a bit because I can relate to what was going on.
Right.
And give, big brother advice, but I see big brother advice, but I never felt like I was anything other than equal with the cast members, in terms of, I was like, well, I never had that. Well, I'm older, I know more, but because that's not true.
Right.
Anyway, so my mom got me into show business. I think I was 4, and then I was 5 when I got my first acting gig. And then I was on a show called Rona Martin's Laugh-In early on in a movie called The War Between Men and Women with Jack Lemmon. I played Jack Lemmon's son.
Oh my gosh.
And I think I joined Screen Actors Guild when I was 6, and I did a whole bunch of work. And, so my mom brought 4 of us kids. That's a whole nother story. There were 2 that were adopted out.
Okay.
But I didn't grow up with. So if I'm hesitating on the number of kids, because now I know them. So now that I hesitate on the number of kids I grew up with, it's because, that's right, Peggy didn't grow up with us or whatever. Anyway.
Right. But she's
that's
there now.
That's a whole nother, that's more therapy than a Kids Inc. And
a whole other podcast.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. So my mom put a few of us into acting. She met an agent when she got out here. And I was the one who stuck. Like my 2 sisters were interested and they did some work, but it kind of stuck with me. I loved doing it from the beginning. And so it went from there,
That's crazy. What, like, I just saw the picture of you with John Denver. Like,
yeah.
Do you remember these? Do you have good memories of these?
You know what? I absolutely do. It's funny, I think this is the case with most people. I remember things from my childhood more vividly than, a month and a half ago sometime, just the way things stick. And there was a movie, it was called Oh God. And I played John Denver's son. And that was in the 70s, a long time ago. But another great experience.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. So I expect everybody's memories to be kind of rusty. But do you remember hearing about the Kids Incorporated audition? Was it just another during pilot season? Oh, okay, that's one more I'll go to. But do you remember hearing about the show?
Sure. I'm gonna just put you on full screen. There you go. There we are. I do. It's funny. So I watched your interview with Tommy Lynch. Great job, by the way.
Thank you.
And not only did it make me reflect on my business relationship and friendship with Tommy, and I miss him. Since then I've been thinking about the show a bit, and it's just a long time ago and stuff.
Right.
So yeah, so the audition was, a regular audition, like you just go and you go and you go, and it's a numbers game. And you do your best to forget about it. And so this is crazy, but I remember this. So I auditioned. They were really looking for a soda jerk, but the prerequisite was that they needed to be a singer, but somehow I got into the audition anyway. Cannot sing.
I was gonna ask, yeah.
If you would have ever asked the late great Michael Cruz, who was our music director, he'll be the first to tell you I can't sing, or the second, because let me be the first. Anyway, so I'm not a singer. So I do this audition, and I let them know that when they said, are you prepared to sing something? And I'm like, not at the least. No. And they said, oh, come on, can you carry a tune? Can you do something, And so I finally agreed to, like, pretty much not to sing till I thought, okay, I'm not getting this role.
Yeah.
They want a singer. And they had me sing something. I can't remember what it was, but it was something we all know, like an American classic thing we all know. And I remember after I just sang a little bit of it, and I stopped and I looked at Michael Cruz. Now, Tom Lynch, Gary Biller, and all the others were in the room, but he was the music director.
Right.
He's the one that was supposed to, like, look at, Tommy and Gary after someone leaves the room and say, that Rasan, he's got it. Or, Stacy. Yeah. As far as the singing part.
Right.
And I stopped. And when I was done, I looked at him and I said, I told you, like,
yeah.
I can't sing. So I forgot all about it. I had a friend who was not only my age, but a year younger in high school, who had a pilot's license to fly an airplane. And somehow, looking back, I don't know how I agreed to do this, but I got in an airplane with my buddy Scott, my high school girlfriend at the time. I think I was a year or two out of high school, but my girlfriend and I were together for 7 years and whatever. So 6 of us got into a little Beechcraft,
Oh my gosh,
6-seater, and we flew to Mexico. And we went to Cabo San Lucas, La Paz, Mazatlan, and we were just hopping all over Mexico, flying in the middle of a crazy and electric storm. And it's crazy I'm still alive, or any of us are. But anyway, we were somewhere deep in Mexico, and there were no cell phones back then.
Right,
there may have been, but I didn't have one. And I called, because I was supposed to call my agent at least once a day to check in. And he picked up, and he's like, are you still in Mexico? And I said, yeah. He said, you got to check in more often. I'm like, oh gosh, sorry, And he said, remember that children's show you auditioned for? You got it. I'm like, children's show, I had to, like, oh.
Which one was that?
He said, Kids Corporate, you got it. And you have to be back tomorrow morning at a table read at the studio.
Oh my God.
And I'm like looking around. I'm in Mexico, like deep down in Mexico. So, you make it work. So I remember I got to Mexico City, bought a one-way ticket flight to Los Angeles. I don't remember getting home from the airport, probably a $200 Los Angeles cab. Right. And I was at the table read for Kids Inc. season 1, episode 1 the next morning.
Oh my gosh. Well, I was going to ask, and probably even during the audition process, throughout the whole thing, were you, like, always afraid they were going to make you sing and dance? I mean, they snuck you in ever so often.
Yeah, no, well, they did, but it was Michael Cruz's voice. I was a pirate.
Yeah.
And there was a Max Headroom takeoff, I remember, and maybe a couple other things. But they had me lip sync to his voice or whatever. And I wasn't supposed to be the singer. The stars of the show were the 5 kids, and in my opinion, the 5 dancers. Yes. So those 10 were the show. Kids is in the title. I was technically an adult, so right. So they just snuck me in a little bit with some fake, with Michael's voice. And we did that. So it was quite a surprise, actually,
when you got the show.
Well, let me be honest with you, and I'm not sure if I ever told Tommy this, but this is my ride with Kids Incorporated was, so as we mentioned, I did a lot of acting before that, right? And I get this show, and you just don't, turn things down. You get grateful. It's work. Show business is a difficult nut to crack. So I took the job, and like 1 or 2 episodes in, I'm going, what did I do? I, at one point in my head, was going to be like an actor, like never a star. I always was realistic about that, but like a good working actor, solid. And so for my character, Riley, sometimes there was a fair amount of dialogue. Sometimes was Riley in that episode? Who knows? Yeah, kind of thing, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm just wondering, like, gosh, this isn't really my desire. But it wasn't long before I actually realized that, first of all, get over yourself. It's not about you. It's the audience it's designed and executed for children, this show, this audience. Right. Always had a good positive message, as opposed to like a Three Stooges or Tom and Jerry, where you just laugh because someone gets hit with a hammer. Right. It always had a good message. And then I embraced it. It didn't take long, but I do remember, and I admit at the beginning, I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is not acting, but I also at the same time, developed some bonds with the kids on the show, the parents, people on the set, the crew. It was kind of a family. I was there for 5 years. We did 5 years.
Yeah. In researching for this, I never really realized you were one of the longest running. I think Stacey made it through 6, but I think you may have been second. I could be wrong, and people will let me know if I am. But,
that's on them for not figuring out how to get rid of me earlier.
No. But I was going to ask, because you had been in the business so long as a child actor, were you as blown away when you met the cast, like, and specifically their singing talent, like Rasan and Martika and Stacey and Renee and Jerry? Yeah. Did you realize what kind of talent was there early on?
I 100% did. Yeah. Like, I mean, I'm telling you, so I had an unusual childhood in that my mom, she wasn't exactly a structure parent. I would stay up and watch like Johnny Carson late at night, which was like the pre-David Letterman, for those who are not 100 years old like me. And, I could kind of like, I couldn't sing, but I could tell if someone's good and someone's not, kind of thing. Right. At least I believe that. And I always said, that's Stacey. She's really, she's got this it factor, but they all did. Like Renee is so talented, and Marta or Martika, she was Marta back then.
Yeah.
And all of them, I mean, are just amazing, And I kind of knew that that's also probably what helped me embrace being a part of it, was because, they were talented. They were really talented. And I say this, and I mean this with all my heart. I think the hardest working people on Kids Incorporated were the dancers, because I just remember like the post-lunch low energy drag I would have sometimes. And I'd walk by the rehearsal hall where Doreen was choreographing these dancers like all day long, over and over again. And I remember thinking, well, at least I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
They worked butts off.
Yeah. The season, I ended up actually working on the last season, and one of my jobs was to play the music for the dancers. And so I was there, the 3 or 4 days, and saw exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The time and effort put into that, I don't think people will ever understand.
And
it was amazing.
Yeah. And, Doreen was a really gifted choreographer.
I just love your puppy. Sorry.
That's Daisy.
I'm oohing and awing over your puppy. So cute.
Okay. Trying to upstage me now.
Yes, that's okay, Daisy. Welcome.
Girlfriend's dog, May. She's my princess. This one.
She's beautiful.
What was this? Oh, so Doreen was. I'm gonna guess there may have been 2 or 3 people in all of town, the entire town, who could have done her job. Mm-hmm. It was grueling, and she was definitely one of them. I'm sure the number one best pick. Their dance numbers just one after another, and you watch it and you're entertained, but I don't think it meets the eye for everybody how much that goes into it.
Right. And I don't think a lot of people know, like sometimes it was based on Broadway plays or Hollywood musicals. And we didn't know that, we're just like, that's a really
Yeah.
cool dance, but she really thought it out more than what we realized,
Yeah.
yeah.
Doreen, I
Very cool.
remember Doreen was one of the choreographers. She didn't get credit as the main choreographer, but she worked on Footloose.
Yeah.
And one of the like at the time I remember like one of the famous moves in Footloose with the feet and the hands or whatever was her. She always said, "That's me,"
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah,
know that.
yeah.
See, you're spilling.
And I believe it because I watched her and I saw how creative she was. And
That's amazing. Amazing.
yeah.
I don't know a lot about the first season. And when you talk about, because some people may not know, when you're committed to, say, Kids Incorporated, you can't take on other roles because, so that's kind of what you're saying is you lost out on, you committed a big chunk of time is what, not lost out. That's the wrong choice.
I never felt like I always feel grateful.
Right.
For Kids Inc. And and it wasn't so much about losing out on other roles. It was this. It was, if you stay with something for so long and you're that, then you may not be considered for this over here, which this might be something you're also very interested in. But also, so I moved out of the house and lived alone. I moved out on my own when I was 16 years old. That's a whole nother story. But I was doing every episode of Kids Inc. for 5 seasons was me to get there on time, showered, know my lines, teeth brushed.
Yep.
Yeah, don't be late, all that stuff. So that was a challenge. But kind of made it happen. But that was quite a time for me. Looking back. Did I miss a question? Did I miss your question?
No, sorry. I was leading into, I don't know a whole lot about the first 3 seasons because I didn't actually start going to the set until the 4th season. But I know in the first season, I think they actually spread it out like 1 episode a week. So do you remember in general the schedule through the first season? Was the show already airing while you guys were still in production? I don't know how that worked.
I think so, but I can't, I don't know for sure. When you see 1 show a week, I have it in my head that we did 3 episodes a week, 6 days out of the week. Oh, that's what I was going to say when I drew a blank a moment ago is also about, it wasn't just that I might lose out on other jobs or anything like that. It was also, it was done in the summer, as you mentioned in your podcast that I listened to. So the kids didn't have to be in school for 3 hours each day, and that would take away from production and make it, harder to produce. So I was also spending my summers where all my friends were at the beach or doing summer stuff, and I was working 6 days of each week. But I remember it being 2 of the days went to the dialogue, the acting scenes, rehearsal of that, and then the shooting of that. And then the next 2 days went to the dance numbers, the rehearsal of that one day, then day after that, the shooting. And the same with when they would perform concerts. Same thing. So on that rehearsal day of the concerts, I usually didn't have to be there. I just have to show up on the concert days and clap.
Right.
But at the time, they used to have me jump up on stage and sort of MC them a little bit, I think. But for the most part, those were my kind of days off of having to worry about anything but just show up. Yeah, but I thought I didn't mean to interrupt you. I thought we did 3 episodes a week though the entire time.
That could be. I thought I had heard, and I could be wrong, and we'll ask some others, just get their input. But I thought the first season they only did like 1 a week. And it was like 26 weeks of filming, but I could be wrong. So I don't know.
That may be right.
I don't know. Yeah.
I know.
We'll figure it out. But no, so one fan sent me a message and said, what did the kids do in like their downtime? And I was trying to think about this because it was back before cell phones, it was back before internet. And you were just saying like you weren't like in a corner and everybody else was over here. You guys interacted. I mean, I saw that when I was there. So what did you guys do? Do you remember?
Well, I think that I wasn't in a corner or anything like that, but I wasn't one of the cast members. I'm certainly they all hung out with each other more than we all hung out together, but I spent a lot of time around them. Before cell phones and all that stuff, I think they talked.
Yeah. Yeah.
They would just hang out and talk or play a game or something like that.
Right.
Before, all that.
Yeah.
So Mario Lopez used to live in Chula Vista. When he was on the show, he and his parents, Mario and Elvira, or Sylvia is her name, his mom, such sweet people. They lived in Chula Vista. So that's near San Diego. And so every day Mario had to get up at a crazy hour and commute the traffic, and took a long time, and then to get home. So his days were crazy. So at one point, Mario asked me, Moose, I'm gonna ask my parents if it's okay, as long as it's okay with you. Can I stay with you and drive with you to work in the morning? And then they could wait till traffic's over, and then I don't have to get up as early, whatever. And by that point, it must have been season 2 or 3, because I was living in a house with 3 roommates, 3 guys from my high school, all my age. It wasn't a frat house, but you wouldn't know it. No, it was fun and good, clean fun. I wouldn't have Mario there if it weren't the case. But Mario got to come hang out with the older guys and stuff, and spend the weekend or spend nights here and there. And he and I would get up and go to work in the morning, and then his parents, one of them or both of them, would come up after traffic, and it made it easier for them, I believe. And
that's great. I never heard that either. Yeah.
But I don't know what he was really into wrestling. When you say off camera stuff. Mario was he was a wrestler. He was a great dancer and all, but I think wrestling was his thing. He really liked, that was his interest. And the others, gosh, I don't know, Stacy, I think their passion shows. They were singers. They just loved the music.
You're definitely going to want to come back for more and hear what else we talk about in episode 5, part 2.
Hey guys, we would love for you to check us out on social media. Tell us what you like, what you don't like, what you want to see more of. You can find us at facebook.com/Kids Inc. Podcast, twitter.com/Kids Inc. Podcast, and instagram.com/Kids Inc. Podcast. Hope to see you there. If you have any questions for Moosie or any other Kids Inc. cast members, please email us at kidsincpodcast@gmail.com.
Everybody look around, hear the sound. Something special's gonna come your way. We got something that is